Geek Out! Hey, welcome to another installment of From Geek Out with Love. I'm Sam.
I'm Jake.
I'm Rich.
We're here to talk about the fifth James Bond film, 1967's You Only Live Twice. This is where the shit starts to go off the rails. There's no... Though honestly, I like the way the movie starts.
Yeah.
But at this point, Sean Connery's starting to show his age.
Yes.
He's starting not to visibly give a shit.
The franchise is visibly not giving a shit in this movie, I think.
Yeah. The plot in general is becoming more outlandish. Blofeld, all due respect to Donald Pleasance, loved him in The Great Escape and Halloween 1. But Blofeld kind of sucks in this movie, which is kind of sad because this is like the most iconic Blofeld look.
Yeah.
It's not the nicotine that will kill you.
I mean, for all you Austin...
Forgive me, my piranha fish.
For all you Austin Powers fans out there, basically, if there was no this movie, there would be no Austin Powers.
Or at least no Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the volcano lair. And
Yeah, that too. The spacecraft that eat each other, which then gets recycled to boats that eat each other in, Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
The idea of... I mean, what you know what the first thing Sean Connery's James Bond says in this fucking movie?
Remind us.
Ling, why do Chinese girls taste different?
Oh, God.
So...
Peking duck isn't exactly like Russian caviar.
Yeah, and she's like, you think we better? And he's like, no.
Oh, God.
Dead on the job, he would have wanted it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say.
What a fucking... And it was written by the guy that wrote the book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was written by Roald Dahl.
That's right.
Writer of Matilda, the BFG, which you own on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah, I accidentally own that movie on Blu-ray, yeah. It's possible to accidentally own a movie.
Yeah.
It's called being a part of the Disney
Movie
Club. Oh, shit, I'm a part of that. Although I did get Rogue One. Honestly, I'm like, whatever, just fucking send whatever. I don't care anymore. It's a Disney movie. I'm sure it'll be fun. And I got the package today, and it was Rogue One. I was like, oh, fuck yes.
Did you get The Finest Hours with Chris Pine?
Yeah.
Oh,
I gave it to my dad.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like good Christmas presents and birthday presents, because I'm like, either it's a classic animated film. Like, I have, everything. I got Pinocchio recently. I think that's, one of the last ones left that I needed.
The movie always scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Of course. When he turns into the donkey man. Jesus Christ. That's one of the scariest things of all time. But yeah, I got Rogue One yesterday, and I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Now, I will say, this might be controversial. The theme by Nancy Sinatra is probably my favorite Sean Connery Bond theme.
It is awesome. Divine, even. Is it better than Randy Newman's theme for You Only Live Twice?
I was just about to say that.
Which goes a little bit like this. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. You only live once. You only live twice. Volcano paradise. I dripped some poison down to kill James Bond, and whoops, it killed a lady. Blofeld's not as intimidating as we thought. This movie's pretty racist. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. You only live once or twiceth.
Or twiceth?
Twiceth, yeah. There you go. There's your off the cuff Randy Newman You Only Live Twice theme.
Of course.
That being said, the Nancy Sinatra theme is actually fucking great. I would go, because everyone goes to Goldfinger because that's the famous.
It's the most iconic.
Bombastic. But it's super just, the guitar is sexy. Everything about that song is sexy.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, here's one for you, because Sam, I don't disagree with you at all when you say you like the beginning of the film. It's interesting. They do the whole, before the credits, they do the whole space thing, and it's pretty intriguing. and then the movie just goes off the fucking rails after that. What if you would have filmed this? Which, I mean, it would have proved to be a little difficult. But if you would have went this route in this script, where you don't do what the book did, because in the book this was the third of the Blofeld trilogy. It was the final one. I think Blofeld was Bertram Shatterhand in the book.
Yes,
Japanese samurai. But if you would have set this in, the Caribbean, would it have been, would it have survived the test of time a little bit more? Because, whereas Thunderball, what we said in our last podcast was that, the beginning is great. You really want to love this movie, and then it gets kind of boring. The beginning here is really interesting. Bond gets shot, or what you're led to believe, and then the movie just goes off the rails. I mean, this is not a good movie. Just point blank, it's just not.
There are things I love about. I think this spotlights. I think Japanese culture was still unknown to most of the Western world at this time. Certainly, cinema going audiences in the United States and in the UK, and so I think the cultural elements up to a certain point are pretty cool. Like seeing Bond walk around Japan, seeing him, go to a fucking sumo match and stuff. That's cool. Seeing him pal around with Taiga Tanaka, even if Tiger Tanaka's women are quite sexiful, as he puts them.
Jesus.
She is quite sexiful.
Yeah. They are intrigued by your chest. Japanese men don't have beautiful bare chests.
Oh, man. Is this the first...
Can't lay an egg in a bare nest.
Is this the first? I just can't remember. Honestly, remember. Is this the first time you see Bond in his naval uniform?
Cinematic Bond, yes.
Yes, cinematic.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Nice little nod to his, him being a lieutenant commander or so,
Mm-hmm.
or full commander. But as like Rich was saying, originally this is also the first time that Bond films don't come out in consecutive years. There's a 2-year gap between this and Thunderball, and originally because they were trying to film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but an unusually, unseasonably warm winter led them not be able to shoot in the skiing locations where they originally had wanted to, and so they put that on the back burner and just like, fuck it. He's going to fight Blofeld, and then he'll somehow get revenge for his wife's death like in some later film. We'll just shoehorn Blofeld in there, kind of like what we did with, From Russia with Love.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they go The Spy Who Loved Me, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then You Only Live Twice?
Fleming didn't like the way that The Spy Who Loved Me came out, the book.
Was it because of all the sex?
That and the fact that Bond's almost like a supporting character in his own book.
Yeah.
He just
he doesn't show up till like 2/3 through the book.
Right. It just focuses on this like young woman's kind of like background. It's like it's her weird origin story, and then like Bond shows up and like fucks her a couple times after killing a man with steel teeth. But
Jaws.
Yeah. So when Fleming sold the rights to The Spy Who Loved Me, he, in whatever legal agreement, he explicitly said title only. He didn't want them to get the story rights because of all the controversy and how his own feelings of how it turned out. So I think instead of in lieu of them completely because at this point, at least there is some basis in the Fleming books. So at that point, I think they weren't interested in writing a full-on, creating their own Bond film, or maybe they didn't have that confidence yet. Because Bond films are still king at the box office because, I don't know, again, they're sticking to the Fleming formula. So I think that's why they kind of held off until like 1977 to 10 years later to make that film. Though, fun fact, and we'll talk more about it in the, when we get to Roger Moore, The Spy Who Loved Me was originally supposed to be Blofeld and Spectre once again.
Yeah, that's a bummer it wasn't.
Yeah, legal issues. That Kevin McClory guy we mentioned on the last episode kind of, pops back up, and he is less willing to play ball with Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman. Apparently, Connery didn't want to play ball with at least Harry Saltzman. I don't know what his feelings were. He felt that he was not... One, he was starting to feel really trapped in the role. And you can see it in this performance. His heart's just not in it at all anymore. He's almost as bored as the audience. And he felt he was, for the 1960s, these movies are making like astronomical, like shit dick loads of money around the world, and he feels he isn't seeing a proper, and to be in his defense, I mean, he is the face of Bond. The marketing campaign for You Only Live Twice is Sean Connery is James Bond. And so he's feeling trapped, and he's feeling he's not being compensated enough. And he's just like, all right, well, this is going to be it. And before the movie even comes out, it's announced publicly that he's not returning for a sixth film. And apparently whenever Harry Saltzman was on set, he refused to act. Like what's his name? The director, Lewis Gilbert. He said, whenever, Sean would be maybe in the middle of a scene, maybe we'd be shooting, and he would just stop.
That's so fucking
And I would
insane.
follow his glare, and there would be Harry Saltzman, the producer.
Yeah.
And this was the movie where, I mean, Connery couldn't even step outside his hotel room.
Yeah, he would get mobbed.
Like he was mobbed 24/7 everywhere he went when they were filming the movie.
He would be mobbed in bathrooms in fancy high class restaurants.
Yep.
And I think at this point he was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm going to make Shalako with Brigitte Bardot, which I think is one of the first things he does. If you ever want to see a Connery Western where he's clearly not supposed to be Scottish, maybe watch Shalako. And thus kicking off a long tradition of Sean Connery not supposed to be Scottish in X film, but is Scottish anyway.
Yeah.
The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
What kills me about that movie is everybody else, including Sam Neill, use Russian accents.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing it.
Which is funny because I think that movie is so fucking clever in the way they get around speaking Russian. Is that idea that they're speaking Russian, they zoom into their mouth, and then the camera zooms out, and now we understand Russian. That is how, you know what I mean? That is fucking cool.
I like how they do it in Clear and Present Danger as well, with the baseball swing.
Yeah, fucking awesome. They should do that more in movies.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just speaking of Sean Connery, non-Bond movies that I don't think gets enough love is The Man Who Would Be King with Michael Caine. That's a fucking classic. Also, is it Robin and Marion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just say my cocaine.
Yeah,
You
my
got it.
cocaine. Yeah. The size of a tangerine. But and then of course The Untouchables.
Sure, gets him the Academy Award.
Yeah.
But no,
What are you prepared to
phenomenal.
do?
Yeah, that's the Chicago way.
We see that in the big screen
For its
back in the
25th
day?
anniversary. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, back. God, that would have been
The movie's 30 years old now. Came out in 87, 88.
Yeah, but we saw. Here's the
Somewhere
thing.
around there.
It came out in I want to say it was 87 because we saw it on
Yeah.
the 25th anniversary, which was 2012.
Yeah, it was like we had that run of Magic or of Yellow Submarine, and then we did down the road we did
The Untouchables.
The Untouchables.
We did. We've done all 4 Indiana Jones back to back in theaters.
all for Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
TJ and I did The Exorcist and E.T. in the same day.
which is just vanilla and chocolate.
It's more like Satan and chocolate.
And Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, and Reese's Pieces. That I ate I like a fucking asshole. It was like eating Reese's Pieces during E.T. and I'm like, it's 40. Eating them with E.T.
Yeah.
and crying like an absolute psychopath.
Sure. Sick E.T.
Oh, well, is that it? Here's the thing. We're gonna go off the rails for a second because that's kind of what
It's not a great film.
No, it's not sick ET. Like when ET's OD'd at the fucking bottom of the screen, it looks like a white raisin. That's just that's disturbing.
Yeah.
But for me, the scene that always makes me fucking cry hard is when the kids are on their bikes and they're trying to outrun the FBI or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the music swell of the main theme kicks in right as Elliot's bike goes up, it takes off.
Yeah.
Over the quote unquote, the
Cop
bad
cars,
guys,
yeah.
the adults with the actual rifles, not the walkie-talkies. And then Elliot's face of holy shit, that whole magical thing of them flying through the woods with E.T. saving the day is fucking the music in that is just so. That whole movie is amazing, but that particularly, and then the end. I mean, the whole end of that movie, they have to say goodbye and stuff.
but it didn't have a volcano with ninjas.
No, it did not.
Here's the thing. What's your favorite action set piece in this? For me, it isn't that volcano ninja raid.
Okay.
It's not.
No.
It's not Bond versus Hans, who gets like piranha'd. It's not Little Nelly. Honestly, the Little Nelly sequence kind of like is where the movie turns to like irredeemable for me. Even though apparently
I completely agree with you on that.
Here's the thing. Even this is crazy. That's a functioning gyrocopter too. It's not like that was like studio trickery there.
Yeah.
It's a fucking flying Segway.
Which apparently like a dude lost his like leg filming those sequences. And they had to film them in Spain because they couldn't get like Japanese airspace to properly film those. But anyways, my favorite action set piece is that there's like a long tracking shot of Bond running across like these rooftops by the docks, kicking the shit out of dock workers and shooting the occasional one that whatever poor bastard gets in his way when he happens to have his Walther ready. That's my favorite action sequence in the film.
That's fair. I mean,
Not a bad one.
I am a sucker for the volcano. Like, I know it's like the obvious answer, but I mean that's
ninjas.
That's ninjas, and that's kind of what everyone remembers. Really, for some reason, I cannot get the fucking thing of like the poison scene out of my head. Like where like they go to fucking kill Bond with the poison, and she fucking rolls over.
Yeah, Aki gets it instead.
Yeah, that stuck with me hard as a kid.
Oh, James! She's dead. As I close her eyes.
Yeah. No, that fucked me up as a kid. Also, I was.
How much does it suck? Because like not one, but two Spectre assassins infiltrate that top secret, quote unquote, Japanese Secret Service facility. That guy and the guy with the bamboo spear.
Yeah.
Who gets stabbed in like the thigh and dies immediately.
Yep. It's serious business.
I would say my favorite action set piece of this movie. I really like that fight where he's like attacking the guy with the couch.
Oh yeah,
He hits him. Like that was a pretty cool fight scene. It lasted like a minute or so.
and that guy's related to The Rock too, because he's he's a Samoan wrestler. Yeah.
Oh, it's Peter Maivia.
Sure. Yes. Absolutely. I think. I mean, but yeah, he's
the maternal grandfather of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
There you go.
There you go.
And he exists.
The next James Bond.
Yeah, he exists only to get like his ass kicked by a couch.
Bond does. Yeah, he does love using furniture, like Thunderball, of course, in the beginning.
Sure.
He's a furniture man. Old James.
Yeah.
I just love how he used the couch so effortlessly. He like picks it up and kind of like jabs at him a little bit, hits him across the face.
That's all it takes to fell the beast.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Bond girls this time around aren't particularly memorable. Unfortunately, they don't get a lot to do.
Agreed.
Especially compared to the highs that we had just seen in the previous, really all
of them, yeah.
All four previous films.
Yeah. And the ones we're going to get next.
Yeah.
Or at least the one we get next.
Yeah, certainly one of my favorites.
In OG Bond, like, arguably the most important.
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. But, I think, again, Blofeld isn't that great.
No.
I don't know what it is about his vocal cadence and there's that one where he's like, goodbye, James Bond, which is like he somehow delivers it worse than Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
And also he tries to shoot him when he could have shot him literally the entire time, but he insists on shooting him by the the fucking monorail where Tiger can conveniently throw a ninja star in his hand.
Yeah, it's like, every fucking stereotype of the villain is in this. And then some. Yeah. Down to like the scar. On the
I'm
face.
going to take great pleasure in exterminating you, Mr. Bond.
Which I will never do, despite my entire, all my chances to do it. Mm-hmm. It's just not. Apparently, Roald Dahl, his one edict was, it's got to be set in Japan. Blofeld has to be the bad guy. You can't fundamentally change the character of James Bond, and he has to hook up with at least three chicks.
And there's got to be a giant fucking spider in the third act.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen the graphic novel of this drawn and written by Frank Miller, because it has to do with Japan. So it's like Frank Miller's You Only Live Twice. And it's just seas of samurai. Wolverine shows up for some reason.
Yeah. God, I would be all about that.
I'd be like, can you draw You Only Live Twice, James Bond? He's like, get the fuck out.
I think you're the only person among the Geek Out cadre that's actually cross paths with Mr. Frank Miller.
It's the greatest geek moment of my life.
How'd that happen?
We were at New York Comic Con last year.
Yeah,
last year, and Sam had alerted me before we went that Frank Miller was going to be there, and I was like, holy shit, that's insane, because aside from like Dave Stevens, who unfortunately passed away in 2008, I believe, who created the Rocketeer, like Frank Miller's like the favorite comic related person and artist and or writer. And so he was at the Dark Horse booth, and Sam and I were working, volunteering at the Image booth right across from Dark Horse. And so the whole days leading up to it, we have, we can go and walk around and interact with people if we want, but we're really there to work, and I feel weird not being there at the booth working.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't.
Not to mention both San Diego and New York are fucking circuses.
Oh, insane.
So we can go to say the Star Wars booth and stuff, but why? Because everybody's at the Star Wars booth.
So I'm not going to these cons fully expecting to do or see anything, and that's not a woe is me thing. That's just my choice. I want to be there to help as much as I can. So the whole time going up to it, they had a raffle. You couldn't just go up and get a wristband for Frank Miller. There was a raffle, and then you could win a wristband for Frank Miller, because obviously it's Frank Miller. And so the only other option was if you bought one of two giant artist editions of Sin City. I think it's A Dame to Kill For. I don't remember which one it was that they were giving away, or if it was different ones. And I was like, but if you bought it, it was either $200 or $300. Basically, you got a wristband. You got a guaranteed spot to meet Frank Miller. And the night before, I was like, all right, I didn't spend any money. I have to meet Frank Miller. This is something I would kick myself down. If I was telling you this story now and I was like, oh, I didn't see Frank Miller, I'd be fucking upset with myself. So I was like, I was talking to the people at Image, hey, I'm going to literally run across here, buy this behemoth thing, and then hopefully be able to meet Frank Miller. So I went and bought it, got my wristband, got this awesome hardcover of Sin City that I still have, artist edition, and then got in line, and I'm sitting there waiting to meet him, and the line starts moving, and you do that thing where it's I'm going to ask him this, or I'm going to tell him this, I'm going to do this, and blah blah blah. What do I say? Do I just say thank you? How do you be original talking to somebody like this? He's heard it a million times. You just shout Batman at him. I don't know what you're supposed to do. And so I turn the corner, and then I see him, and in the past couple of years, he's been really frail. He's had some serious health problems, and has been looking really worse for the weather, under the weather, to say the least. Yeah.
We were at the Eisner's ceremony where he got a Lifetime Achievement Award,
and he wasn't there. I mean,
he couldn't
go.
Yeah.
And so it was a hold your breath moment for a year or two with Frank Miller. And so I turned the corner, and he looked good. And I've seen pictures recently, he did a panel with Stan Lee that was awesome. The two of them just fucking joking back and forth, and he's looking really healthy again. I don't think he's ever going to get back. He's only 60, but he's looking healthy again, which is all that matters. And so I turn the corner, he's smiling, and it's basically this conveyor belt of you have the book. He'll sign the book. He's not going to sign anything else. Understandable. And then you get this really great print that he'll sign as well. So I was like, great, I'll give the print to my dad, because he has become a born-again comic book fan, and especially Daredevil and Frank Miller and stuff. And then I'll have him sign my thing. So getting up there, and I'm in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm going to pussy out and not say anything. I'm just going to shake his hand and say thank you, because that's good enough, because they're moving the line. The line is long as shit. And so I go up, and I shake his hand, and he signs real quick. And in my head, I had this little, the devil and angel that pops on your shoulder. I had this, time stopped, and, the fucking angel version of Fat Bat from The Dark Knight Returns popped up on my shoulder. And he was like, fucking tell him, you bitch. And I was like, you punk. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. And so there's, this, brief moment of pause. And I was like, you wrote and drew my favorite Batman moment of all time. And he's probably going, oh, yeah, probably. He's smiling, he's all smiles. He's like, oh, yeah? And I was like, yeah, it's from The Dark Knight Strikes Again. And for a second, I thought he was going to be like, fuck off, because The Dark Knight Strikes Again is not the most well-received Batman book of all time. I have a crazy, weird fascination with it because I think it's like the most punk rock, crazy fucking book ever. But so he kind of looks at me for a second. He even stops with his pen. Like he finished signing, he looks at me. And I was like, yeah, it's the moment in Dark Knight Strikes Again. I don't know if you ever read it, Rich, but there's a scene where Batman has his cape is lined with razor blades. Like it's a new thing he's added. And he goes up to like fat ape-looking Lex Luthor and he beats the shit out of him and then carves a Z into his face. And, Frank Miller was really instrumental in making it that Batman's hero and the last thing he saw with his parents, like my headcanon for the night the Waynes were killed, is that they went to go see The Mark of Zorro with starring Tyrone Power. And that really, if you watch that movie now, you can imagine a young Bruce Wayne remembering the last happy moment of his life is this movie. And he remembers like, oh, there's that great scene where Zorro, just you see his eyes in the shadows and he's fucking with people. And, he's this rich guy, but he's also this symbol of justice and hope and all black and the horse and everything. So that really like resonates with young Bruce Wayne. Anyway, so he carves a Z into Lex Luthor's face, and Catgirl, a.k.a. Carrie Kelly at that point, she is kind of narrating for the audience. And the great thing that Frank Miller does is he doesn't tell you that it has anything to do with Zorro. Like, if you don't know anything about Zorro, you don't know why he puts a Z on his face. And she says, the boss leaves his mark. Why it's a Z, I don't know. And when I read that, I was like, that's the fucking greatest thing I've ever seen. Because I told, Frank Miller this, I don't explain this entire thing because he fucking created it and wrote this scene. But to give it context, I was like, that's my favorite Batman moment of all time. Because in that moment, we get to see Batman be his hero for once. Like, we're always imagining, like, what it'd be like to be Batman. Batman's always imagining what it's like to be Zorro. And to, like, for him to live out that moment. And he kind of looked at me and he's like, oh, you're a very sharp reader. And I just floated back to the image booth. I was like, oh, like it was like this angelic thing. I was like, I got called a sharp reader by Frank Miller. That's the greatest day of my life. And I was so happy that like I fucking didn't wimp out, I would have been fine if I just said thank you, because, what do you say to Frank Miller? I mean, he's every character he's touched, he's left a mark and whatever. So that's just a really long story of it. But it was like the greatest moment of my life because Frank Miller was like, you don't get it. Not every day you get to meet, freaking Frank Miller. Who
I think while you're doing that, I was back at the image booth commiserating with Max Landis over Dirk Gently.
I think also Greg Capullo was at the booth at that time too.
Yeah, the reason I remember Max being there is because apparently his panel for Dirk Gently, nobody else like all the Q&A people. Nobody wanted to ask him about Dirk Gently. They all wanted to ask him about like Wrestling Isn't Wrestling or
like
Superman,
Chronicle
or something. And he was just like, "What the fuck?" And I was just like, "I'm sorry, man."
I remember seeing him. And I've never seen someone look more flustered. Like, and he wasn't like he was angry.
Yeah.
But he just was caught in the whirlwind of.
Yeah, he was bummed
of everything. And then we go back and Greg Capullo's over there. Being Greg Capullo. So that is my official summary of You Only Live Twice.
Better than this.
I will say, that this is really grasping for straws. But as a kid, I love those old posters, like those great fucking
the
posters.
60s Bond posters are the
best posters. I remember we'd always talked about like lining the fucking house when we were living in Stonington, like with those original posters, or at least our favorite.
I have
Bond.
Honor Majesty Secret Service up in my apartment.
Well, the problem is my favorite Bond movie. I've said it a million times. Is License to Kill,
which has
like the worst posters. I would like to get a License Revoked poster because like that's like Revenge of the Jedi shit. But it's just not a great poster. Living Daylights has a pretty classic poster in terms of like
it's okay
compared to. I mean, the License to Kill is like cut out pictures of the Bond movie and like a blowing up truck in the background and Bond's like running sideways and there's a iguana with
what's his name's face Sanchez's face in the background.
But what I like about You Only Live Twice, and this is really ridiculous, but we're reaching for straws, is Bond is doing the Bond thing, with like his leg and one gun up, and he's standing in between Twice, and Twice is split. I always thought that was cool as a kid that Twice was split into two like that.
I like the look on his face on that poster. Because they all sit in the background, he's in the gyrocopter, and he's just kind of like looking quizzical, like, I guess I'm doing this now.
You're going to pay me so much money, and I'm going to leave you high and dry.
Yeah.
But I'm not done yet.
No, and especially for kind of Never Say Never Again. Okay. I think
if you want a really, really cool poster, they've got I think it's a French one of A View to a Kill in the DuPont bookstore.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was there a couple months ago, and I first noticed it in like 2013.
Nice. I was at
My fiance wants me to buy it for her, but I refuse to spend money on anything Roger Moore Bond.
especially View to a Kill.
Oh,
That's like that's one of the bottom of the barrel.
I mean,
for
the
him.
one I would get without a doubt is Spy Who Loved Me, because
That's got a good poster.
Spy Who
yeah.
Loved Me is like one of my all-time favorite Bond movies.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking love that movie. But
It's beyond.
Yeah.
You spell it out.
Oh, Jesus. Well, it's like with Thunderball, look up, look down, look out. And like the O's are like 007s or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, at Barnes & Noble, they have one of those oversized hardcover books, and it's full of the posters.
At Awesome Con, there's a guy that sells movie posters, and he always has all the Bond posters.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I got my On Her Majesty's Secret Service
Honor
poster.
Majesty's Secret Service is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. But, okay, let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Bond getting plastic surgery to look Japanese.
Yeah, I was wondering how long we get there. That out of all the things I think Bond does, like looking back, that doesn't age well.
That's it.
But I mean, that like that didn't age well when that movie came out. You know what I mean? Like that's something where like, you know, you could say what you will about other things, and yes, of course, nowadays like that is definitely not cool. But like that plastic surgery to look age, I mean,
he looks like a beetle. He looks like a beetle.
Yeah, and he made fun of the Beatles.
I was more offended by how bad it looked than what they actually, than the social impacts of it. Yeah. It was the easy way out.
Oh God! And it's like, it just looks. It looks terrible. It looks horrible.
It looks cheap.
Yeah, and he's like, he tries to hunch over to like disguise his height, and he basically looks like a Vulcan. Like he kind of has like the Spock facial features.
And
It's not great. That's the worst thing.
Without a doubt.
Not like Donald Pleasance Blofeld's performance. Not lackluster Connery performance. Not just the butt fucking weird plot. It's the fact that he undergoes plastic surgery to look Japanese, and it looks that on a conceptual level. And then to take it one step further, the fact that it looks horrendous.
Well, not even that. They'd be like, so James Bond is dead, huh? Yeah, he's dead. And then like walking right next to them is this 6'2" man with terrible plastic surgery who looks exactly like James Bond.
It's okay. While we're
do it.
Well, we're already 30 minutes deep. Let's go ahead and I know.
Where would you rank Donald Pleasance as Blofeld in the, of all the four or five Blofeld actors? We're not going to count, the
skull cap,
whoever it was that got dropped into the smokestack.
Okay, because I was going to say then probably less.
Probably. I mean, well, honestly, I might take Donald Pleasance over Charles Gray and Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh yeah, okay, I would too. Because at least
it's interesting because here he is as like a British, intelligence figure with a fake leg, apparently. Man with a wooden leg named Smith.
Yeah.
In this film, and then they bring him back like 2 movies later as like the big bad. They're just like, nobody remembers, right? Nobody. We can do this.
Yeah.
But no, I would probably put Donald Pleasance like second to last, third to last if we're counting Max von Sydow from Never Say Never Again.
Maybe we just mentioned Never Say Never Again during Octopussy.
I would be perfectly fine with skipping Never Say Never Again.
Yeah, we can at least reference it. Yeah, we've already referenced it
a lot.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Although I feel like it'll
You walk in a room.
Oh. Dun dun.
Dun dun.
Remember the lyric that we made up that we thought we heard in it that's not in the song? We've been singing for you.
Know.
You never know. And we listened to it recently. That's not in the song.
It's been a while since I've watched Never Say Never Again, guys, because it's not great.
Never say never
the best thing is probably Connery.
Yeah, I mean, to see
I know
back,
you. Yeah,
like, whatever. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite thing about this film, and what's your least favorite thing about this film?
Ooh. I like that the twice splits on the poster, and he stands between the. No, I like the gyrocopter.
You do like Little Nelly.
I do like Little Nelly. I like the gyrocopter. It's fine.
All right.
But I mean, this movie. Look, there's not. It's this is kind of the beginning of the end.
Yeah. The golden age is over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's the worst thing? Is it?
The plastic surgery. I mean,
okay, I guess we're in agreement.
That's just absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing was the end credits.
Oh, fair.
We're done. Yeah. Yeah. As the fucking sub finds Bond and kisses Suzuki in a raft. Let's see.
I did like the I said earlier I did like that the fight scene with the Rock's grandfather. It only lasts like 15 to 30 seconds, but it's kind of a cool action beat. Is the when he takes the cigarette when he's in Blofeld's little compound and uses it to shoot the one guy, and then he like whips the shit out of like 4 other Spectre agents before they all put guns in his face. But that was kind of a cool little action set. I don't know. I just not a big fan of this movie. You know, this was 2 movies in a row where if you were to watch them in order from start to finish and not really just watch the Bond franchise as a whole and see them when they're coming on TV, or if you own all of them and just start popping in a bunch kind of, out of order, you could kind of see like where they're getting stuck with the formula and how they kind of get married to the formula in such a way that it's starting to become predictable. It's starting to become stale. You've got a Bond who doesn't really want to be there anymore. From a visual standpoint, you went from having 1, 2 movies in the Caribbean of the first 4 with all these colors out there, and it's beautiful. And, Connery's excited because he's in the Caribbean. He's sleeping with a bunch of beautiful tan women. By and large, a culture that probably a lot of people didn't understand. And I guess back in the 60s, it was really cool to see. But, in 2017, it's a bit different story. We kind of get a redeeming movie up next. Yes. And then the dark years start.
Which is to say the 70s.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Roger Moore.
I mean,
now, I'm not excited for like say Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah.
But there's enough funky crazy shit racist shit, but I was like, how do I put this?
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh no, we're gonna. I think the most fun we'll have is the Roger Moore era because like.
Sometime, and you and I have talked about this on the main show. You and I have talked about this going through like Kiss albums. Sometimes the worse the material we have to work with, the better the episode.
Yeah, but I mean, like Live and Let Die has some stuff I legitimately love in it. There's some good shit in there. Yeah. Man with the Golden Gun is pretty lame-o. But
it's honestly it competes with View to a Kill for my least favorite.
But at least View to a Kill has like it's just so. Wrong.
It has Duran.
Has the oopsie daisy punch.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yes, the oopsie daisy. Here it comes. Here comes the rocket ship.
Yeah, here comes
open wide
for your alphabet soup, and then Great. Oh no, my favorite thing is the theme song. That's what else. The favorite thing, without a doubt, the theme song.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, I guess it's the theme song. Like legitimately, the theme song's great.
Yeah.
The theme song is fantastic.
Fantastic theme. Again, my favorite actual film moment is the tracking aerial shot of Connery knocking dudes left and right on the rooftops of Tokyo.
Oh, I just remembered. Mm-hmm. Even though this is probably going to air in July.
Yeah.
So this might be a moot point, but since it's Bond, we might as well at least give it 90 seconds. Did you hear that Chris Nolan's production company is going to produce the next Bond movie?
Oh, so they won the bidding war?
So it's still going to be
MGM.
Broccoli's. They don't know what. I mean, theoretically, it's going to be Warner Brothers, but not on regular IMDb, but on IMDb Pro. And then it was all over Twitter, I guess, for about a day before people had to take their tweets down. That I can't remember the name of his production company, but
Legendary?
They're going to be. They're the people that are being brought on to make the movie.
Is it Legendary?
No.
It's like Syncope or something like that?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it.
That's cool. I mean, like, we've all been waiting for the third act of Inception is his Bond audition.
It's very visually striking, it's visually an homage to On Her Majesty's Secret
of course.
Service.
I mean, skis and snow. You can't help it.
Oh yeah, look, there it is.
Well,
Nolan's Syncope producing James Bond.
That's big news.
Oh boy,
Give me some Christopher Nolan James Bond.
Maybe
man.
he'll do that after Dunkirk.
Oh, Dunkirk looks fucking unreal.
Yeah. I'm
Dunkirk looks amazing.
I will see that shit.
Yes,
It will be good.
and maybe he'll cast Tom Hardy as Bond because he casts Tom Hardy in everything. Or Harry Styles. From
Well,
One
we already
Direction.
know that Michael Caine will play M.
Yeah. I'm suddenly not Ray Fiennes anymore.
Yeah. Here's your new gadget. It's the size of a tangerine.
As he's just drinking a phony branca.
Yeah. But like, this isn't a gadget. It's just a tangerine. That's right. You throw it at him.
If you beat someone with it, it doesn't leave a bruise.
Yeah. And the tagline is, "Some men just want to watch the world burn."
Yeah. Remember when he's the bad guy in the first Kingsman movie? Or a bad guy in the first Kingsman movie?
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you, and then dies.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
It's great. The sequel comes out this year. Looking forward to
I'm
it.
looking forward. Channing Tatum's a cowboy, man.
Yes.
I still need to see the first one.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
It's a
That's what I've
romp.
heard.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
I kind of want Matthew Vaughn to direct a Bond film.
I want Matthew Vaughn to direct Man of Steel 2, which has been the rumor for a while. Because if these two rumors line up to be true, Matthew Vaughn directs Superman vs. Black Adam, played by The Rock, which is supposedly what's
Man of Steel 2.
Man of Steel 2. And hopefully it's not raining during it and it's light.
Yeah, it's not raining all the time.
Yeah. Can't rain
Can
all
we
the time.
just burn all of DC Comics right now and start from scratch? Like, give us half the money and we could shit out a better film than anything they've come up with since Dark Knight Rises.
I feel like if Justice League does not succeed this November, that
They can pull. Well, again, this is all just obviously nerd speculation from someone not in the business, but like I feel that Ben Affleck has set himself up for a very easy pull the ripcord departure if Justice League doesn't work. Like I think the first, he had his, like he was in the pool and now he's got 1 foot in there because he's like, oh, I'm not directing anymore. And then, like, if Justice League doesn't work, he's like, then I'm just out. Like, it's kind of like he's half 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door kind of thing. Because the Justice League trailer, he looks super uninterested in that trailer.
Yep.
I'm real when I need to be.
Yeah, and he's also
or when
like,
it's useful.
he's just like, what's your superpower?
You can talk to fish.
Yeah, I'm rich.
Barry Allen.
Yeah. You need friends, Barry?
Yeah.
I'm your friend, Barry.
Let's hug.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, good to see you playing with others again.
Yeah. It might be temporary. Just shoot him in the head. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. At least we'll get a Nightwing film, apparently.
Maybe. I mean, again, none of the Flash is on his third director.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit.
Remember when they brought out all the directors for the future DC projects, and most of them aren't that anymore on the stage of San Diego Comic-Con?
Oh God, what a shit! What a fucking.
I mean, this will be out, but we will already have seen Wonder Woman by the time this has come out.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Shit, we'll have seen Wonder Woman before Thunderbolt comes out.
And Spider-Man is in July too.
Yeah,
that's like early July, right?
Yeah. So,
Gal Gadot doesn't even want to do like any press screenings or anything for Wonder Woman, right? Because it's like that's the general consensus is that movie's going to be really bad.
Probably.
Yeah, if the track record is to be believed. Oh God. As we just think about a future of DC movies.
Hey, at least we got Dunkirk this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll always have Dunkirk, and we'll always have You Only Live Twice.
We will.
Which turns
Unfortunately.
50 this year.
50.
50 years of You Only Live Twice.
Oh man.
Fuck a doodle doo.
June 12th, 1967 in London. Jesus. So we're coming up, maybe this podcast is a month old when it gets released.
Yeah, maybe we'll have no, we won't have a viewing party like
No.
50 years. No.
Yeah,
not for this one.
No.
But anyway, this has been another installment. We're coming up on my personal favorite Bond film, so
It's a good one.
keep an ear out just in time for our birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
The Bond Connery could never play.
Yeah. Which I don't think he could. But anyway, we'll get to that debate next time.
Yeah.
This has been another installment from Geek Out with Love. I'm Sam.
I'm Jake.
I'm Rich.
Goodbye, James Bond.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.